Good evening.
Hey, how's it going?
So far, so good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. How about yourself? No, we did that already. I did that on purpose.
I assume.
I was just thinking I'm going to start calling you in the middle of the day on Tuesdays and like going to let it ring once and then hang up and be like, I just wanted to put you at the top of my queue. So that when I tonight, I don't usually, but tonight I had a hard time finding your contact and I scrolled up and down twice and because you can't do favorites in FaceTime. How old is FaceTime? A decade? More than a decade?
It's more than old enough for that to be a thing.
That should have been a 1.0 feature.
I wonder if the new unified call messaging stuff coming in iOS 26, if part of the impetus for that is unifying the FaceTime interface.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I don't ever open FaceTime on my phone, so I don't know if there are favorites there or not.
Well, I know that you can make a FaceTime option a favorite from the phone app.
Yes.
So I don't think FaceTime itself, if you open it, does anything. I think it's predicated on using the phone app. That was the last thing I had to say. It was just that I think the FaceTime app on the phone is predicated on using the phone app for favorites.
Gotcha. Yeah, I hope that I hope there's some amount of basic feature parity that comes. So we'll see. Maybe a month from now, it'll be downloadable. I know people say shipped because they literally used to ship software in boxes. First on diskettes, then at some point it was cassette tapes, but then it was diskettes, and then it was compact discs, and there are some places you can still get on a media on some sort of drive, but maybe a month from now it will have shipped.
Yeah, if I had my other phone handy, I could look and see if it, but it's across the room, so.
Well, I'm actually really looking forward to the Journal app being on macOS.
I didn't realize that was an omission because I don't use the Journal app. I still use Day One.
I have Day One, but I, for whatever reason, started using the Journaling app. I've had Day One for a long time. I'm not sure if I have it on my phone or not, but I never got into it like I did with the Journaling app. And I'm not sure why.
I mean, I think any free option for that is a great thing anyway.
Yeah.
So when was it? At some point, I repurposed a phone for Jacob, and he doesn't get to keep it and hold on to it. It's sitting down here with my phone at the moment, and then if we go on a trip, he gets the phone to be able to take pictures and things of that nature. But we turned him onto the Journal app specifically for him to record stuff that he wanted to record about trips.
Oh, that's really cool.
I'm hoping that eventually it'll expand into actual journaling and reflection and everything else. But, I mean, at this point, he's 9. I don't expect a whole lot of that.
Right.
But I know at least 3 trips now he's taken notes in the Journal app. Because Asheville, when we went up there last December, he took the phone, made some notes. I think when we did the Thanksgiving trip to Emily's parents, he did the same. I know over the summer, when he went up there for the normal 2 weeks that he does in the summer, he used the Journal app for that. And there was something else that we did. Oh, at the Renaissance Festival. He journaled some from that too.
Nice.
The only other thing that I really added was that the only complaint that I have about Apple's offering, last time I looked anyway, there was no way to import or export stuff. And so since I'm pretty well established with Day One and have a lot of stuff there, that's just a non-starter for me. If I could import stuff in and export it out, then I'd try it, no problem.
That should be a 1.0 feature of almost all apps. I know why it's not, and it's a shitty reason why a lot of times that it's not.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, with my app, that was one of the very first features. It's like, no, I'm not doing anything if you can't take your data with you.
Right, right. So how can you take your data with you from your app?
It exports it into just a JSON document.
Okay,
So
cool, cool.
you can do whatever you want with it from there.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people that won't know what to do with that.
Yeah, but that's not my problem. I made it usable by any standard that you could
No. That
try to
could
think of, from
no,
that
no.
standpoint.
You've made something that anybody who's making a competitive app will be able to take that and import it or create an importer for it. So that makes sense. But
Right. And I could turn around and I could take that same thing and create, something that would say, convert it to comma separated values or something for you. But
yeah, okay.
from the app itself, the only thing that I supported was just JSON import and export. Because it doesn't make sense to have complex relationships and not do it that way.
I don't know enough to know that that's a thing.
Essentially, nested arrays and values and cross-referencing stuff. It's just one of those things where if I'm going to have data reference other data, it's better to do it in a standard format like JSON allows than to build something proprietary, in my opinion.
Oh, I get that. Oh, no, I totally get that. I get that.
That's it. I mean, that's in a nutshell. That's it. Because essentially what happens is you have an array of these things which have identifiers, and these identifiers are mapped to their categories. And so, like in a place, if you reference, martial art 1, it'll have a key value. And so everywhere else in the JSON where it's attached to that martial art, that key value will show up.
I get it.
Yeah.
I had some follow up because I'm up to date on our show.
Nice.
And I had some follow up from 2 episodes ago, episode 256. I kept mentioning when talking about time travel, backwards time travel. I kept mentioning in reference to the law of conservation of mass energy. I kept referencing molecules, and I was listening to it like I really wish I had been saying atoms because I feel like molecules are more transient than atoms. Not that atoms aren't, but it seems like molecules would be more so.
I'd say it makes sense. I mean, it's still a semantic thing, really, but
it is because either one is a placeholder for the matter that makes up you that is accounted for. The other thing I was going to say about it was, at one point you'd mentioned like if let's say me as a person traveled backwards in time. Created by doing that, I don't actually travel back to my past, but create an alternate timeline where it's my future is the world's past. I'm not sure. And I wanted to be, I would say, I made this note like a week ago. So, and I don't remember exactly what I was thinking at the time, but I think what I was thinking at the time that I was listening to the episode and making the note, I wanted to be clear that when I was referring to backwards time travel, I mean literally your own history. So, like in Back to the Future, that would be they do go in Back to the Future 2. They do go to an alternate 1987, but that's from the original 1953, 1955, and it is 1985. Sorry, doesn't matter. I wanted to make the point of it like going back to your own. Let's say there's no branching timelines. It's only one timeline, and you're going back into your own timeline, and not a branch of like an alternate timeline that would be your future that seems like you're traveling to the past. I mean, literally going back to the past.
Yeah, I followed, and I remember there were 2 kind of thought processes that I had, and so the second one would fit that model more, which was the one that led down the path of if we encountered beings that had different understandings of dimensions, time could be something that is movable in a way that we don't account for with our current understanding. Right. So that could,
yeah.
So that's not a parallel timeline. That's just a different understanding of time that would fit that criteria. But I do remember making a comment about if there were alternate timelines, I don't remember how I worded it, but that would also open up that possibility. So like
Right. If they're,
there were kind of two jumbled
yeah,
thoughts, I think, in the way it was presented.
yeah.
So good to all that to say, good to call out clarity because I know
Yeah.
that I didn't do a great job of explaining the different views or different thoughts either.
Yeah, I guess if I was going to have this conversation again, I would say something to the effect of like there are no in this specific, what I'm thinking about. There are no alternate timelines. There is no, for all intents and purposes, there's not you can't create diverging timelines, and so, um, that being said, then you end up with like you end up in a paradox of doing something that would prevent your existence, and then you couldn't go back into the past to create that problem that
That erased you.
erased you, that's the problem that Marty McFly runs into in Back to the Future,
Right.
and then there's a whole other paradox that Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese run into with the Terminator. It's like, how can John Connor send Kyle Reese back in time if John Connor doesn't exist because Kyle Reese is his father who was sitting back in time?
Yeah, that one.
It doesn't work.
What,
Well, it doesn't work in how we perceive time.
right. Every time I think about it, I always think about the chicken and the egg conundrum.
It's
immediately
the egg that came first.
Yeah, it's immediately the same general issue. It's funny to me to think of the Terminator stuff as chicken and egg. That's why I was laughing.
Oh, I just remember somebody saying lizards evolved to lay eggs before birds, so the egg came first.
I mean, certainly plausible explanation, just like any other.
Yeah. So I remember. Yeah. So Terminator doesn't work, and most time travel doesn't work, and most backwards time travel doesn't work. There's, it's easy. Like the layperson can come up with the problems that you would face. But I do like
Terminator only doesn't work if you consider the relationship actually honest and not, an affair of some sort or something. You know what I mean?
How do you mean?
So
No.
I don't remember at what point we have this idea that I keep wanting to say Michael Bain.
James Cameron?
No, his character name.
Kyle Reese?
Reese, yes. I don't remember where
Michael
exactly.
Biehn.
Yeah. I don't remember where exactly the statement came from that was his father, because that clearly couldn't have happened anyway.
No, he hooked up with Sarah Connor.
Right. Again, hold on. Okay. Stick with me.
Sorry, I'll shut up.
But the point is that just because they hooked up doesn't mean that that's who impregnated her. And so it could have just been a misunderstanding unless you assume that Sarah Connor had no other relationships with anyone else ever.
So I think in the movie they infer, if they didn't outright say that Kyle was John Connor's father, I think they heavily inferred it.
I do too, because I remember that, but it's that sticky, not necessarily the best choice of words. But it's that same conundrum that you have with anything else where it's not very explicitly stated, where sure, it can be inferred, and for all intents and purposes, maybe that's the relationship in the future, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the one hookup was her being impregnated by Kyle Reese either. Which really doesn't matter, because it's not like they ever showed any other love relationship, and for the purpose of the story in the film, it was a throwaway thing anyway.
Yeah, at the end of Terminator, I want to find out, because I'm pretty confident that it was more than inferred.
It could have been. It's been a long time since I watched the first one. But I don't remember that part coming in until later.
Huh.
Because it seems like, I mean, they certainly had the relationship. That was very clear. But it seems like it wasn't until whatever the name of the third one was that they tried to be more explicit about the relationship which is around the time that the franchise just kind of fell off the rails anyway.
Do you think it fell off the rails on the third one?
I think the third one was okay, but it was nothing topped 2. Like it was just consistently downhill after 2.
I don't know about consistently because I like Terminator Salvation, but I think Terminator Salvation, I liked it. Well, so I don't know if it's better or not, but I liked it more than Terminator 3. But yeah, nothing like Terminator 2 is better than Terminator. Like it's one of those rare cases where the sequel is better than the original.
Yeah, and I did enjoy the first one quite a bit.
Me too. It was good.
For the second one to be as phenomenal as it was, I think says something. And the fact that it still holds up today as the best of all of their attempts also says something.
So just some real-time follow-up. Kyle Reese is indeed, it's not implied or it's not inferred, but he is outright John Connor's father. We were not misremembering that.
Okay. But that was from the first one.
I can't tell you exactly. Yeah, it's from when he because that's the only time that he... No,
I mean, it was explained in the first one. Like it wasn't
I believe so.
Follow-up out of one of the other ones.
I believe it is. Oh yeah, it's at the end of the first one. She takes a picture. She's leaving. She's on the road. She's in that Jeep. She talks about her unborn child, and she says it's Kyle's baby because he's the only one that she had any sort of I don't know what word I want to use here. She's the only one that she had intercourse with. How about that?
I guess I just took that differently. I took it more as her kind of ruminating on what the future holds, because she knew that because Kyle would have said that he was sent back by John. So she would have known she would have a kid.
Should I tell you about your father? Boy, that's a tough one. Will it affect your decision to send him here, knowing that he is your father? If you don't send Kyle, you could never be. God, a person could go crazy thinking about this. I suppose I will tell you.
Like I didn't take it as her stating she had the child at that point.
I need to find that clip and I'll send it to you. I'll find the clip.
I have the movie.
Fairly confident. I know you do, but you don't have to go watch the whole movie.
Wait, that's what scroll wheels are for.
They're not great these days.
No, they're not. But that's also why I can just access the file directly off my NAS.
I was just gonna say I will say though that it's not much better than fast forward and rewind on a VCR was. That's what I was trying to get at. Like being, excuse me, skipping forward on something that you're streaming or something, whether it's local or from a service. It's just not great. It's fast forward and rewind aren't any better than they were on a VCR. Like we took a step backwards from a disc because you could at least go to chapters. I guess you can go to chapters if you buy or you create the chapters.
Yeah, I mean there are ways to. I mean, it's just so it's
telling Siri to advance 25 minutes. That's nice. Like I use that feature way more than like trying to scrub through something, unless it's like a tap for 10 seconds. I want to go back or forward 10 seconds.
Whatever happened to the promise of being able to hold the side and then roll your thumb around the circle like a scrubber? Do you remember that?
Was that I don't, because I don't think I had an Apple TV in those days. I'm not sure.
Because Apple made a big deal about shocasing it at an event, and it worked in one or two places. I don't remember.
The thing is, it's
TV. It was with the advent of the current Siri remote, though, because that had the circular.
Then I was an Apple user, so I'm not sure. I am I'm vaguely starting to recall it, but I don't remember. Because I think I had your Apple TV HD, I was using that with the older remote when the current remote came out.
And it's with the current remote that they showcased the scrub feature, because what it was is you wouldn't push in the button on the side. You would put your thumb on that side, wait a second or two, and then you could use the circular motion of your thumb around the outside as a scrubber.
Yeah, I do remember that now, and that would be a nice feature.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to it. I wonder if it was just never adopted by third parties. I bet Apple's apps use it, and I bet that's the only place it works.
Mm. I've disabled the touchpad. You have to physically push any button for it to do anything, because it's just there was too much erroneous input.
Interesting. I don't normally have
at least
that issue that I recall, but I haven't tried it in so long. I wonder if that's part of why it doesn't work. Maybe I have that disabled and forgot about it. All right, so I have some takeaways that I'll go investigate.
Yeah, I'm going to try the same. Anyway, that was the follow-up I had, and I guess it's too late to be a pre-flight item, but I just saw I saw an email came in, and I saw that Liverpool has gone back to the 3 stripes.
Yeah, Adidas is the partner for this year. So the partnership with Nike was relatively short-lived because it was...
How long was it?
New Balance before that.
Yeah. I remember when they had some brands that I wasn't aware of, but I remember when I first started watching football, which was 20 years ago. This season is the 20th season that I've watched and paid attention to it, and I think they were wearing Reebok at the time.
I get it's been clear since I've been following that the kit deals are very lucrative, and so they get renegotiated fairly often.
Yep. I think the longest one I saw. So I think Arsenal had Nike for 13 years.
I think Nike did a pretty good job with some of the kits. I think some of them were kind of lazy though.
Oh, in the 2000s. In the 2000s, it was all this exact. Everyone had the exact same kit, just different colors. Like there was almost no variability. It wasn't until 2010 that they started putting some amount of individualizing. But it was weird because at the same time, Nike was putting a lot more. I could tell that Nike was putting a lot more money into kit deals and sponsorships. In the Premier League and the Bundesliga and La Liga and Serie A, and I can't remember what the name of the Dutch league is. It starts with an E. Anyway, they were putting a lot of money.
Eredivisie?
Yes, yeah.
It's that one.
Yes. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't want to butcher the Dutch, so. But yeah, I remember League One. And so, but yeah, they seem to be. It seems like they've been pulling back over the last little while, 10 years maybe.
Yeah, I do. I like the new Adidas kit for Liverpool mostly, and I say mostly just because I don't know why they do those front white vertical stripes down the seams, or what looks like it's the seams. I know I've seen it appear before. I've seen it in other kits. I just don't like it. You know what I'm talking about? Not the Adidas stripes or the reference to them on the sleeves.
No. I know. It's the piping.
Yeah.
The white piping. Because the kit that they had in the late 2000s was that exact. It looked almost exactly like that.
Yeah, I get that it's an homage of sorts.
But I don't know what the piping is.
I just don't like it. I think I would like it better if it were symmetrical front and back and not just the front.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least then, to me, it looks intentional, whereas this almost looks accidental. But anyway, I don't dislike it. It's just not for me.
It's
Whereas the away kit to me looks better than the home kit. I'll put it that way.
I don't think I've seen the away kit.
I will send you a quick link.
And I was going to say I was wrong. Nike made Arsenal's jersey for 20 years, from 94 to 2014. That's a long time.
Yeah. So the away kit has instead like a red accent for like the underarm panel, side panel of the shirt. And to me, that just looks better than the piping.
Yeah, it does. I agree. It's interesting that they have white for away. That's a very American thing to do. They almost look like Manchester United with those black shorts.
Careful. No, it is funny.
Yeah, I could have just said, "Hey, do you want to fight?"
I actually saw United's kit looks pretty damn similar.
I know. It does. Their away one or
their home one? I haven't seen their away one, or I haven't looked that close. I thought I saw pictures of a third kit.
There should be a third kit,
and I haven't seen pictures since then. But if so, if what I remember, it looked awesome. Like I'm watching for that one to see if it actually shows up. And I don't even remember the color scheme at the moment, but it reminded me a lot more of, I think it's the current goalkeeper away kit, maybe. It was like a.
Oh, it's a green kit.
Is it? You found it?
Yeah, I did. I'm gonna send you what I found. I like that they're using the. I like that they use the old logos.
I do too. But I really like
trefoil.
That third kit. So
yeah, it's a cool kit.
If I happen to see that one available whenever it goes on sale, I will be buying this year for that one. And I don't buy very many jerseys, but I like that one a lot.
I used to try to buy them all, and then I stopped and sold them all. Well, so I used for 2 or 3 years. I tried to buy them all, and then I was like, "This is not a good thing," because I don't wear them enough, and so and I was buying them on eBay, so I wasn't paying full price. So I ended up selling all but 2 of them. I have Henri's last jersey from the last season at Highbury, and I have his last jersey at where he was a full first time squad member. He came back on loan, so last time he was at Arsenal. I have the last season. He was his home kit from the last season. They were there.
I don't remember exactly which ones I have up there now. I know I have the first year Nike, and I think the second year Nike. I've got one of the Champions League from the year that we won. I think I might have one more. Like I don't have a lot. The first couple were just unique enough that I got them. And then there's whichever one not too long ago that had the blue accents on the collar and the sleeves, like the cuff itself, not on the shirt. I think that's it. I might have 1 or 2 others that I have forgotten about, but I don't think I have more than the 4. I do have a couple of the training pullover half zips because I really liked. I have a New Balance one and a Nike one that I really liked the design of the 2.
I've got a cool Nike track jacket that is from Arsenal's 125th anniversary as a club. And it's got their normal club patch on it, but then it's got these like oak leaves around it. That's pretty cool.
I wonder if it was the 175th, if that was the year. There might have been something different. I don't know. Eventually I'll go look, but it's not important. So just to piggyback off of that, I had put in, that I still find Peacock a miserable experience. It's because of the Premier League. I mean, the app is horrible in every conceivable way. And that seems to continually get worse, where it doesn't respond to the Apple TV remote in any type of responsiveness that I consider worthwhile.
Well, so mine is doing a thing where, like, I can tell it's responding because like if I'm playing a video, like if I select it, I can see that it was selected, but it just takes 10 seconds for it to actually load and play the video. And then it actually takes maybe 5 or 10 seconds for it to start showing the spinning weight indicator, and then another 5 seconds to load the video. So like I'm waiting anywhere between 5 and 15 seconds to, when for everything else, it's like every other app on my Apple TV, it's playing in less than 2 seconds, if even that.
So I've even had it not even load the video. Like a minute later, I finally just back out and restart and go back in.
So how long has this been happening for you?
A good year.
Oh, wow. Okay, so for me, this has only been happening maybe a week or two.
Yeah, I've had issues with it. Like I had issues with it last Premier League season. And so that's one set of gripes about how bad the app is. Now, what's new for me this season is I've had it not respect the back button, where a lot of times I'll have to hit that back button 30 and 40 times to go from just the main Peacock screen back to the home screen, which is atrocious.
Oh, wow. I've never had that happen.
If I hit the TV button instead, it will take me back. But the way I have it set
so
up.
I always use the TV button. I don't think I've tried the back button for it to go back.
I generally use
YouTube
the back
does
button.
that, and it annoys me.
Yeah, I generally use the back button because I'll load it and then maybe I'll go back and then choose something else. Or, I'm normally only 1, maybe 2 screens in. And so by default, I just hit the back button.
Oh, see, I don't like that because I don't like when the back button takes me out of the application at all. Like I want it to at least just kind of bump up against a wall and not take me out of the application.
Yeah, we just have different usage patterns on that one then.
Yeah.
But my other big complaint isn't even the horrific nature of the app and how bad it is. It's that I still find it absolutely miserable experience trying to watch Premier League matches using Peacock.
Okay, so I watched the Arsenal's opening match. They were playing at Manchester. They were playing against United in Manchester, and other than the non-responsiveness or the long load times is something that I've been experienced over the last few weeks. With just like I was trying to watch Modern Family, and I would select the episode, and I could tell that it registered my selection, but I would anywhere between 5 and 15 seconds, and then when it would autoplay the next episode, again it would be 10 seconds before it would actually play. When normally my experience has been not bad with the app, but it would just be it would autoplay the next app, and it would be a second or two, if that. And so now it's gotten where it's these really long displays. Tonight we were watching Modern Family after supper, and the rating wouldn't go away, the rating overlay. So it's making the top portion of the show dim, and that was annoying me. So I actually had to stop and reset. I tried to do things while the show was playing, change to this menu or that menu, toggle this, toggle that. Couldn't get it to go away. I had to stop the video and then restart it, which was a 15-second ordeal. But it did go away when I did that. So yeah, I don't know, but I've only just been starting to have problems with Peacock. So if you've been experiencing this for a year, I didn't quite understand what you were experiencing for the past 12 months.
Yeah, and I mean the other part of it is I still, content rights and distribution still piss me off with the way it's done. So Liverpool had an opening match on against Bournemouth on Friday. For whatever reason, that could only be watched on MSNBC Sports.
Yeah. But then you can watch it the next day on replay on Peacock. Yeah.
But I'm never going to do that. I'm going to catch the highlights on YouTube 2 hours later.
Yeah.
It's
and they're going up in price.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
I did. I got billed for the updated amount, and I almost decided to cancel immediately.
I kind of want to send support an email and be like, hey, I have this issue, and you're charging me more money. You should fix this before you charge me more money.
Yeah, I'm close to the point of just finding alternative ways to watch the Premier League matches and saying screw it with anything that NBC owns.
Yeah, I hear you on that one.
Well, is it still NBC? Is it Sky? Whatever. I don't know.
They're still partner with NBC in the United States.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do a VPN over to England and watch it on Sky Sports.
Can you get free? Is it free, or you got to pay for it there too?
I probably have to pay, but I don't know. I'd rather the money go there than to NBC and their shit.
Yeah.
Like at this point, that's what bothers me, I think, more than anything else. Like, you've had plenty of time to fix a lot of these little nuances. And it used to be I could just pay for whatever in an NBC Sports Pass or whatever it was that would let me watch every fucking Premier League game without a problem. Sure, I had to pay a little bit more, but it was convenient and it worked. And ever since that went away, it's just been frustrating. I think that's all my rant. I don't know that I really have enough to go too far down a rabbit hole there.
I think I'm certainly going to change my plan. I just went to Peacock's website because I wanted to pull it up so that I'd remember to send them a stern email. Sound like what's his face, Schumer. I'm going to send them a strongly worded email. But the $17 a month versus, so there's Select, Premium, and Premium Plus, and the only difference, it looks like the only difference between Premium Plus, which for whatever reason I'm automatically going to for $17 a month, is to be able to download it and watch offline. That's the only difference, and Premium is just $10.99 a month. So I'm gonna downgrade for sure.
I have Premium
with ads. With ads, Premium is with ads.
Yeah, and so I was paying $7.99 a month, and I was okay with having the ads at $7.99. At $10.99, I'm not.
Oh, see, I was paying for no ads, and it was like $13.99. I mean, so...
And I would consider it if I used other things. It's like the only thing I watch on Peacock is the Premier League.
Right, so the ads don't matter.
Right, because it plays at the beginning and then at halftime.
Sometimes the DNS servers I'm pointing my router to, they block the ads. They don't on YouTube, but they do on games that I play, and I noticed that it was happening on there was another streaming service that I was using that had ads, and I realized, oh, I haven't seen a single ad, and I realized, oh, my DNS is blocking those ads, and that was awesome. So I wonder if it would block Peacock ads on Peacock if I went down to Premium. But I did hear my kids say, "Oh, I like being on Dad's Wi-Fi," because they know that it blocks ads or some ads.
Nice. I need to set that back up. I just actually, while we were talking, I canceled Peacock.
You want to borrow mine?
Maybe. I mean, mine just renewed, and I will probably end up renewing it by the time it's all said and done. It's one of my little. While I'm here and while I'm frustrated, why not? It'll force me over the next 30 days while I let the subscription run out to look at alternatives, because I'll be thinking about it as opposed to just talking about it.
Well, I'm going to glom on to your research, and if you find any good alternatives, I'll be interested to hear.
Yeah, I'm going to at least look around. At some point, I don't remember when it was announced. Hulu announced they were going to acquire, or Disney announced they were going to acquire and incorporate Fubo TV. And I would be really curious if that's ever actually going to happen and ever actually find its way into an actual Hulu integration. And if so, whether that would be a viable alternative. But of course, right now it doesn't exist. So,
well, something that's really interesting to me is like you can get, and I assume it's an introductory for a year, but you can get Hulu, Disney Plus, and HBO Max for $16.99 a month.
Yeah, I have that combination. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was not far off from that. I can look and see. Oh no,
yeah,
I'm looking. That one I have to actually log into the website.
Yeah, it's Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO Max. Oh, so with ads, it's $16.99 a month, and without ads, it's $30 a month. Still, that's pretty good.
Yeah, when you think about the fact that it's got the premium stuff too, that's the only reason it makes financial sense.
I'm definitely gonna get Hulu for somehow, whether it is finding someone who will let me borrow it or getting it for a period of time. I'm gonna get it to um, watch Alien Earth. Like I'm really interested in that, but it's on FX, so it's being released weekly. So I'm not gonna do it until I can binge it. And nobody here's gonna want to watch it with me, I think.
So the funny thing is, on Disney, I'm paying for no ads. I have the Disney Hulu and Max bundle with no ads.
Okay. I can't do the ads, man. I cannot.
It depends, and I think I did no ads with the anticipation of using Hulu more, and I just don't use Hulu. So I need to go back and see.
I dislike their app more than I dislike Peacock's, but I think I dislike. So I dislike Hulu's app more than Peacock. I dislike Peacock more than HBO Max, and I dislike HBO Max more than Hulu.
Yeah, I follow. I don't mind Max so much now. After I think they were
doing autoplay.
One, I think they were the ones that gave you the setting to turn off the autoplay. Maybe not. I know when I am browsing, I do not get autoplay in Max, and I don't remember if that's a them thing or if I turned it off. Because I went through every streaming service and tried to turn it off at one point, so I could see who would allow me to and who wouldn't. And now I don't remember. It's the kind of thing I don't keep track of. You know, you get rid of it and you don't have to worry about it again.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I don't think I would remember either. So,
but I do remember choosing not to deal with ads there. I think because of what I was watching on Max at the time, I just didn't want the interruption. But I don't even remember if it was an interruption. Like, I can't remember if on Max they were doing ads during the show or just at the beginning or just at the end or what. So that's why I'm kind of curious what made me go ahead and do no ads on that bundle, where I am okay dealing with ads most other places. I don't know. It's kind of, I'm not going to remember it now.
I didn't realize that you were okay with ads to this extent. I'm kind of surprised by it.
I grew up with unskippable ads, man.
Me too. I mean, I did too.
At a certain point, it's not worth the $10 a month just to not play one or two ads.
Man, I can't. So when I started using, when I went to Plex for, when I made Plex this is how we consume content that we own. When I got there, it was around the same time that Netflix became more of a streaming service than a DVD service, because I used the DVD service for a long time, maybe 10 years, off and on and off. And anyway, I think by 2011, by the end of 2011, I had all of my movies in Plex. I had a Plex media server. That was how we access, something that we wanted, movies or TV shows that we owned. And then we had Netflix because it was the only streaming service at the time. And we didn't have any other TV. That was it. And this was 14 years ago, practically there was a lot of good stuff that has now been dispersed among all the other streaming shows that were all on Netflix. So, Friends was on Netflix, and that
would have been a completely ad-free experience at that point.
Yes, it was, and they had not introduced ads. Nobody had been doing ads. So from 2011 on, I have been ad-free. So, yeah.
Yeah. So here, my piece with it is that I don't mind if you show me one or two ads at the beginning, let the content play, and then call it a day. It's when you do commercial breaks and interrupt with ads that it pisses me off, which is why I don't use Peacock for anything other than the Premier League. It's why I don't watch anything on Paramount Plus. Well, I've never actually subscribed to Paramount Plus. They haven't convinced me to pay them any money for any reason. So that's a whole different thing. But it's why I won't anyway, is because the ads being interjected. It's why YouTube pisses me off recently with the way the ad breaks have been.
I think that the channel owners have control over that to some extent on YouTube.
Yeah, I think so too. And I need to look. I currently don't have any of those options because I don't have a big enough subscriber base to matter. But I need to look and see because I think that's correct. It's why I quit watching anything on Amazon Prime though, because I got tired of. Well, I think they only did commercial breaks at the beginning. Either way, something about the way they did the ads pissed me off, and I just haven't watched anything since.
I know that they do ads. So my best recollection, because I don't watch that much on Prime, but my best recollection is that they sometimes they don't have many ads through, and it might depend on the show or the movie, but if they have an ad somewhere in there, it's I feel like it's the least number of ads. But like I remember I watched I had HBO Max with ads, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do this with ads, and so I stopped using it. But I've used Paramount Plus with ads, but my DNS is blocking it really well. Like I don't see ads on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, my general issue is just when you interrupt the content with ads. It's one thing to show me an ad or two at the beginning. I'm more or less okay with that. The rest of it, that's when you lose me.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Like if the ad is if you have like bumpers, if you have like a opening ad and a closing ad, or a series of ads, that's far more palatable than having an ad in the middle of the program. Like I'm just like, no. But there's a lot of people in the world that are okay with that, and these services had to do it to get the Gen Z and Gen Alpha kids used to ads. I don't know why they weren't relying on YouTube to get them used to ads, but because Jesus Christ.
Honestly, I think we should just do away with the ads, period. I mean, it destroys the experience. It was so much greater when there were no ads.
I agree.
But at the same time, in an unregulated economy like we have, you're never going to get rid of it. You're going to find every way to make some kind of money elsewhere that you can. So, but it's the same thing.
These companies they're trying to squeeze blood out of the stone because.
Well, it's the same. It's the same issue with billboards. How many times? I mean, neither one of us have necessarily traveled that many times through Europe. But how many times have you seen a billboard in Europe?
Never have I ever.
Me either. And it was great.
I haven't done a lot of traveling in Europe, but I've done enough.
Yeah, and it was great.
And I've been outside of large cities too.
And I drove
large city to small city.
I drove across the southern half of Ireland and never saw a single fucking billboard. And it was awesome. I loved it. That's the kind of thing we need here.
I agree. And I think there's a whole thing about how many signs that we have, like just road signs.
Yeah.
We have a ridiculous number of road signs.
We do. That one I'm a little more lenient on, only because we have the worst road infrastructure of any other country, just because of the sheer size. I don't know that it's marked well enough in a lot of places, and I think it's marked too well in others, if that makes sense. So it's the road signs at least give you a little bit of latitude on. But billboards, anything where you're advertising something, like that shit just needs to go.
I agree with the latitude that I share the same latitude that you do for road signs. It's just a lot of road signs.
It does seem excessive, especially in some places, but there are times when I wish for more road signs to figure out where I'm supposed to go. Well, I feel like not anymore, actually.
With GPS in our cars, like GPS being fairly ubiquitous. I think there are more people that have the capability of navigating via maps on their phone than do have cars.
Yes.
There are two drivers in my household and 4 people, and all 4 of us have the ability to navigate by GPS.
Yeah.
One of them we'll need to download the maps before we go, but or get on somebody's hotspot. But yeah, that's neither here nor there.
That was a bit of a tangent from the Adidas kit.
Yeah, right.
I want to rein it back in.
Well,
only.
No. You can't. You moved down to your experience with Peacock.
I did.
That's how we got.
I just didn't expect it to be that to wind that way. I wanted to come back to the topic that you had dropped in because I don't want to let that go unreferenced.
Oh, see, I was okay. I was okay letting it go because I put it in there because Becca recommended it to me, and I put it in there because I thought, oh, we could talk about this, and then I started reading it, and it was like, it's good, but it's almost a couple weeks. The article's almost a couple weeks old.
Yeah. So the article itself actually isn't what I want to talk about.
Okay.
So it made me think about. So as we're recording, it was Friday, right, when Trump and Putin met in Alaska. So 4 days ago, as we record, yesterday, as we record, it was meeting with Zelensky and European leaders, right? I think. Either way, that gives you.
I haven't heard anything about that one.
So that just gives the rough timeline. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But it seems so evident to me that the man can't decide anything for himself and relies on whatever the most recent conversation that comes to mind from recent interactions are, because the way he talked Friday is different from the way he talked today. And like anybody else having all these different types of gaffes, or there was one where instead of saying driver's license, he said license plate, talking about showing it to vote, to cast a vote. Like anybody else, we'd be talking about mental issues in general and lack of ability to think clearly, and just the effects of age, plain and simple, full stop. And yet still, for whatever reason, he gets a pass.
Well, I don't think he gets a pass because I have seen some discussion about not just his age, but potentially there was a clip that they showed of him on a walkway to Air Force One, and I've seen other presidents walk on that walkway without any issue, but he was meandering on the walkway like he was confused about where he was going. And the person who posted this video said it's not going to be long, but like I think that they were the person who posted it was married to a doctor or a someone who got has an MD. Can't remember if she said that he was a resident but all things being considered, to some level, studied some amount of, studied what you study in medical school about dementia. And he's like, I'm pretty sure this guy has dementia, and it won't be long before we start seeing the effects of that.
And this is
or it won't be avoidable, the effects of
even that's where I have problem with it. Like for me, it's been clear for at least 3 or 4 years. It maybe hasn't been.
It's been clear for 10 years that he's unfit to be in this position.
Well, yeah, to me, that's a separate argument. I completely agree, but the dementia thing to me has been clear for longer than just recent observation. That's the big thing. Now, maybe I'm more attuned to some of those behaviors than somebody else. I kind of doubt it. I don't practice medicine. I don't practice, psychological treatment or anything of that nature. I just have an interest in similar topics and then tangentially related educational background. But it's been extremely clear to me that the man is not cognitively there. Not to the if not within the realm of where you want someone controlling the country to be anyway. I'm trying to be as generous as I can with the description. Because if it noticed it for at least 3 to 4 years, never should have been able to make it to the point of election day, much less actually swear into office. So why was there so much clamoring against specifically Biden and his age with his gaffes and not applying the same standard to Trump? And obviously, it's very clear that that's the whole Democrat-Republican standoff, the way that the game's been played. Like there's just no getting around the fact that the GOP base is far more hypocritical in that area than anybody else. The problem is that you have all of these similarities, and you are supposed to have a functioning free press prior to this current Trump administration. So what the fuck have they been doing? You know, like that I think is my core frustration, is the fact that you have people who swear that the media is there for a reason and protects liberties and freedoms by being objective and reporting on the facts. And where the fuck are they? And that's my problem.
Yeah.
All right. So there's more of a rant there than I thought, but that's why I didn't want to let it go. You know, it wasn't necessarily that article. It's just that has been really annoying me recently.
It's driving me crazy. Like, I mean, it's been driving me crazy because I know people that, for all intents and purposes, I believe they have good hearts, but some, like, even the people who I know that, there are people I know that voted for Trump. They don't like him. They were using their vote for Trump against Kamala, against Harris. And I don't understand how they don't see what a major load of hypocrisy is. It is. I don't understand how, like, or it's not that I don't understand. I'm just having trouble. It's not that I'm having trouble understanding it. I get how people are this way. It's that I'm having trouble feeling like I'm having trouble with how I'm having trouble because I somehow keep trying to tell myself that I shouldn't be as angry as I am about it. Like I'm somehow bottling up some of this anger that I have for people that voted for Trump that have spent their whole lives talking about being followers of Christ, and then they vote for Trump.
Yeah, I've had a lot more issues with this split than I have other votes. And part of it, I think, also is because for everybody who claimed that Harris was not fit for whatever reason, if you take the exact same standard that they use, Trump sure as fuck isn't fit. And so, like, that, it's so... I don't even want to say that it's such clear racism that it pisses me off, but that's the only thing that's left. It's either racism or sexism, one of the two. There is no other explanation.
It's prejudice. It's prejudice against that's all that it is.
Wait, again, racism or sexism. You know, it's just...
Yeah.
And the only reason I call it out that way is because I think a lot of people don't understand prejudice. And it sounds stupid saying it that way, but I think people understand racism and sexism as being negative things. I don't think that a lot of people understand what prejudice actually is, and that it is also a negative thing. I think instead a lot of them mistakenly swap in bias or preference for prejudice, which is the only reason I'm avoiding using prejudice. Like I personally don't see how you get that swap, but it's just that's the only explanation I've got for people who otherwise seem to be decent people.
Well, when you have an underfunded education system.
Very good point.
Well, I was going to say, I think even I don't know if it's broader or not, but even I was just thinking sometimes it's not, if you talk to someone and they're like, They denounce the prejudice. They denounce the racism. They denounce the sexism. They're still voting, or they're still trying to keep a society, a patriarchal society intact that promotes those things. Even if you're against them, you're for them by keeping, because I know that some of the people that I know that profess to love Jesus and to be followers of Christ, which I don't know how you can be if you vote for Trump. I honestly do not know how you can do that. Like, I think those are incongruent.
Yeah, you can't unless you're being hypocritical or don't understand what you're being taught. Like
that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing too.
Well, I'm just saying that those are the two scenarios where you could be a Trump supporter and theoretically also be Christian. Either you're being a hypocrite, full stop, or you don't actually know what it means to be Christian. That's it. That's the only way that you can rectify
ignorance or hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Choose make your choice, ignorance or hypocrisy. Anyway, I think a lot of them chose ignorance, honestly, because I think that if I were to talk to them now about this, they would have been like, I think that they would be genuinely surprised, which is also kind of this is willful ignorance. And because they would be like, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. And I was like, he fucking told you.
Yeah, there was no. So
there was a manifesto. It was documented. So
what's hilarious? I went back to something that I wrote. I don't remember exactly when I wrote it. I posted it, so it's on the blog. But I specifically called out that what was planned was clear. It was not veiled in subtlety. It was not alluded to. It was spelled out completely in full. And so you can't claim ignorance. You can only claim that you intentionally chose to ignore it.
Yes.
And then there's a difference between that and ignorance.
Mm-hmm. It's willful ignorance.
I mean, you could say it that way, but I feel like it's more malicious than that.
Oh, I mean, I've heard the term willful ignorance being used around, so that's...
I mean, it is, I agree. I feel like there should be a more malicious phrasing for it, because it's beyond trying not to know. It's intentionally ignoring the information that was presented to you to claim you don't know, if that makes sense. Like to me, there's a slight difference between the two, because there's no way you could miss the information. You had to instead choose to disregard it. And I just feel like that's malicious in a way that willful ignorance doesn't quite capture.
I get the term is not enough for you.
Right. Now, does it work? Yes. Like, by definition, we 100% agreement. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got it. It's like, it's like I'm going to reserve willful ignorance for like, my parents, they put a computer with access to the internet in the basement in 1998 when I was 16 years old. I'm pretty sure they were willfully ignorant of what was available to me, what I could get into back then.
Yeah, that feels more accurate.
Right. Whereas like that's not comparable to what we're talking about here.
Right.
It's like aggressively ignorant to what his plans were, because not a goddamn voter didn't know about January 6th.
Not a single one didn't know about Project 2025. Like these things were so heavily mentioned, even when media outlets didn't do them justice. You still heard about it enough that there's no way you had no clue going into that election that these things were at play or were things that had occurred.
I guarantee to you that the people I've been referring to only know about Project 2025 is the name. I would be shocked if they read any other part of that document other than the title.
I'm not surprised. And I
think that's a lot of voters. I think that was a lot of Trump voters.
And I'm especially not surprised because how many of those same people wouldn't understand anything about what was in the Articles of Confederation?
Yeah.
I mean, that it's the same principle. And at a certain point, if you're going to choose to vote, you better damn well know that the reason you're voting is actually legitimate and not some made up fantasy that you got from Uncle whoever.
So I remember talking to one of these voters and saying, you're kind of voting against your own interest because they're a woman and they have a maiden name and a married name. And I said, one of the things that they plan to do is make sure that you can't vote or make it more difficult for you to vote. Do you think that's okay? And it was kind of, the response I got was like, I don't think it's going to happen. Well, at this point, it may not happen, but a lot of the worst, I would rather that have happened first than
for a number of people, it's already happened. Yeah, because so one of the reasons we made sure to update passports now is because if we, for whatever reason, did not have both birth certificate and marriage license, if one got destroyed and we couldn't get a copy easily or whatever, suddenly my spouse can't vote. Like, we're fortunate in the regard that we have identifying information.
When was that enacted?
It's not that long ago. I don't remember if the deadline passed or if it was with the Real ID stuff or even prior, but there was legitimate concern that, hey, before this happens, we need to go ahead and make sure this is done so that worst case scenario, I have a current active passport and can prove that I have a legitimacy as a U.S. citizen and can vote with my current name.
So I didn't think it would be a problem for you because your name has never changed.
I have no concern because it matches my birth certificate without a problem. And, we have all the paperwork currently where even if we didn't have a current passport or a current star ID, we could get those things because we have the supporting documentation. But if for whatever reason we had found ourselves in a scenario where we didn't have both birth certificate and marriage license to show name change, it could very well be a problem. And I mean, we're not the type to not have access to that, of course. We're affluent and educated and responsible. But it wouldn't be surprising if things, house caught fire and we lost documentation is an extreme example, or, natural disaster, whatever it may be. If for some reason we couldn't prove who my spouse is going to try to request replacement documentation, or if they just weren't helpful, she could be screwed already. And this is someone who is very clearly a natural-born U.S. citizen and should not have any impedance to voting rights other than the fact that she's female. That's where we are. We're already at the point where it could legitimately be weaponized against your normal female citizen. And we're not even halfway through the administrative cycle where they're trying to crack down on additional restrictions.
Yeah, we're 200 days in, I think.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to necessarily make it sound too extreme, but it's one of those things where if the right circumstances were met, we would already be at a point where it could be a problem. Just imagine the people who, for whatever reason, don't have documentation. Or maybe they never got a copy of the marriage license, or maybe their birth certificate was never provided. How many times have you heard of someone needing to go to the courthouse to get a birth certificate because their parents never gave them a copy? It wouldn't surprise me if it's just a roadblock now where, I can't, for whatever reason, I don't like you, and I'm not going to say that I can prove you are who you are to give you a copy of your birth certificate. You need this document. Well, you can't get that document without the birth certificate in the first place. Well, then you're screwed. Thinking about specifically the Real ID, Star ID stuff. Because if you don't have your birth certificate, you might as well not even try.
It's been 4 years it's been almost 5 years since I got mine, so.
I held off until last year. Just because I had a passport, I didn't care.
See, I had a passport, but I think I got it anyway because I thought that it was required, and then they extended the deadline, and I got mine before they extended the deadline.
I had a big,
but I also I was also waiting for my license had expired as well, so I was needed to get it renewed anyway.
I have a problem with having to provide all sorts of documentation for something
That's
when
bullshit.
I have.
Oh, it's bullshit.
Like if I have a current driver's license issued by the state of Alabama, then you fucking know where I live. I shouldn't have to bring you anything but my current license that has not yet expired.
Not just that, but like, why was this good at one point and it's not good now?
Yeah, but anyway, I have I have very strong issues there, so I held out as long as I decided to, and then
it's all meant to make people. It's all meant to make a certain group of people who would vote a certain way more difficult for them to vote. That's all that it is.
Oh yeah,
it is
for sure.
Not increasing. There's no increase in security here.
And especially, so once I finally went and did it, I did so just because my license was expiring. And it's like, oh, screw it. I should probably go ahead and do this just because I know my passport's going to expire relatively soon. And if there's an overlap before I get the new passport, then, this way I don't have a problem. It's the only reason I did it. Otherwise, I would still be fighting it to this day just because I had to go to a different location than normal and provide additional paperwork that the state should already have. Fuck off.
Well, that database is probably running on COBOL, so
I don't care.
As long as it
That's
doesn't.
not my problem.
I was just gonna say. So as soon as it crashes, they're gonna need you to. As soon as that hardware crashes and they don't have replacement components to fix it, they're gonna need us all to bring in that stuff back.
You know what? Query the sheriff's department. They've got it. Or ATF. They've got it. Or FBI. They've got it. Or like at a certain point, this data exists in some government database. That's not just yours. Just get it.
Well, you can't be inefficient if you have access, if you have certain, if you programmatically and systematically can access the right information that you need. I mean, it's, I remember I don't know how many years ago it was, but I remember saying that everything that is done right now should make voting easier. Everything, like, that's what freedom means. It means that you can be being in a democratic government by nature should be that everything that we do regarding voting should make voting easier. It should be so easy to do, and it should be foolproof. It should be like it's currently safer than it's ever been, and there's a way to make it easier and maintain the level of security. I remember saying that you should be able to vote online. And I remember somebody was like, "Oh, that's not secure." And I was like, "How many fucking bank transactions occur online? You make it secure."
Yeah, it's not. It is really not that difficult at this point.
No.
And I would even be okay, honestly, if you were to say voting requires some sort of biometric authentication in addition to a password.
Make an app for your smartphone.
Yep.
Because they all have biometric. It is not a difficult problem. Actually, not only is it not a difficult problem, this problem has been solved over and over and over again. That's how not difficult it is.
Banks do it every day.
We have a number of different ways set up for you to get in touch with us to provide feedback, ask questions, or just comment in about something we've discussed.
You can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at untitled_hosts, or shoot an email over to untitled.hosts@gmail.com.
Or get in touch directly with Jesse at jthart.com, or get in touch with me, John, via telepathy.
If you would like to support our work or are interested in listening to our new after show feed, head over to patreon.com/theUntitledPodcast and take a look at the options we have set up.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed the show.
And we hope to connect with more of you as we continue this journey.
That's a wrap.